You're listening to Faith, Relationship, and Community Podcast, where we talk about all things faith, relationship, and community. My name is Noah. I'm the lead pastor of Morningside Lutheran Church. In today's episode, I sit down with Mickey as we talk about his journey battling through leukemia.
Man, start from the beginning. Enlisting in military. Where'd you grow up? You grew up here in...
I grew up in Sioux City.
You were in Sioux City?
Over in Greenville.
Yeah, in Greenville.
Yeah.
And then
right over there.
After high school, enlisted.
Yeah, right out of high school.
Talk about that.
I wanted to do aviation. I looked at some aviation colleges and stuff, and I was an average student in high school, and then I didn't have any scholarships and stuff like that, and college was expensive. And I just wanted to get out of boring old Sioux City, Iowa. You know, I wanted to do something. I wanted to have a job. I was free from the bounds of high school and being a minor. I was 18.
You're like, man, the world is right here.
The world is right at my disposal. And I was like, well, it's gonna be a package deal. I'm gonna see the world, and I'm gonna do aviation, and I'm gonna have a job, and back then, the slogan for the Navy was "Let the journey begin," and it began right out of high school. Yeah, Marie and I, we started dating like 3 weeks before high school, and she signed up to be a sailor's wife when she was 17. I was 18 years old.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work out. I'm like, I'm going into the military, and is this girl gonna hold me back? And I was like, no. She supported me. She still supports me after all this time.
Absolutely. How long you been married?
I've been married for 25 years.
25 years. Yeah, just had your vow renewal. Which is great.
Yeah.
And because you left for the military and then you got back and you were married the day after, or a couple days
it was so close because we were. It was in March of 2001, which is 6 months before 9/11 happened. Little did we know at the time, while we were out at sea, that we were training for a war. And so we were out there getting our pilots qualified to, land on the carrier. They had to have so many traps and stuff on the carrier. We had to have all of our aircraft ready. The ship had to be ready. All the sailors on the ship had to be ready to keep the ship afloat for combat. And we didn't know it at the time. We just thought it was just going to be training,
Right.
And then we just barely got back in time. I literally got back the day before my wedding. And it's not uncommon for us to be out there a day longer or even a week longer.
Yeah.
And so if we'd stayed out there one day longer, out at sea one day longer, I would have missed my wedding.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I did miss my 1-year anniversary the following year because we got back a week later because 6 months later, September 11th, 2001 happened.
Yep.
And then we went to Norfolk, Virginia, and then we went over to an unscheduled part of the world because that terrible thing happened to our country, and the whole idea of what we were supposed to be doing changed.
Yeah.
So so we went to a war instead of just doing like a regular uneventful deployment.
How long were you gone at that point?
We were gone for 6 months and a week. That extra week was what cut off my ability to be home for my 1-year anniversary.
So got home around the same time of year, both years, but one was a day before, one was a week later.
There was a lot of frustrated sailors because we were so close.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to be back home with their family and their friends and stuff. And
yeah, sure.
We just all knew that we had something very, very important to do while we were over there. There's like an entire nation relying on us to respond to a terrible event that's happened to our country.
Mm-hmm.
I would come home and there's flags everywhere on people's houses and stickers on cars and stuff. Everybody got real patriotic after that. It was kind of nice to see.
Yeah.
I always say that the best thing that happened about September 11th, 2001 was September 12th, 2001, the unity of our country. And I don't know if we'll ever see that again.
Yeah, but it was different, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
It was nice to see.
Yeah.
That's just one of those things where I think God can take something very terrible and make something good out of it. And something good that came out of that was the unity of our nation even if it was that one day after that terrible event in our country. But
And as believers, I mean, we know and we've seen it. We'll talk about that here in a second too. But we've seen that in many different events, or even events in our life, where God has made something good out of something tragic. Not that He caused this tragedy to happen.
Right.
That's the sin in this world. But it happened, and He'll make it for His good. And I think that's something we saw on September 12th for this nation.
Right. And I didn't even see that then. Like, I didn't see that until I got older, to where I realized, and I got stronger in my faith, where I realized, yeah, God actually makes good stuff out of bad stuff all the time.
Yeah, right.
Pretty much like undefeated when it comes to that.
Right.
He
He's
really does.
undefeated.
Like,
That's right. I love it.
like, so every time something terrible happens in my life or somebody else's life, I see it, and then like, I wonder what good thing God's going to make out of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And He does all the time.
But 25 years later, you're still active military.
Well, I'm a reservist, yeah.
Reserve, yeah, yep.
So,
Yeah, talk about that journey.
so I had a break in service. I got off of active duty. My last station was North Island, San Diego, California, and I had a 14-year break in service. They were downsizing our military at the time in October 2010, and I was one of the people that got to go home. So, and some people went into the reserves, and I chose not to at the time. I just wanted to enjoy civilian life, just have a job and not move all over the world all the time.
Yeah,
so
right.
I just wanted to go back to good old Iowa.
Yeah, that's
the,
right.
The irony,
wanted to come back to Sioux City.
Right. The irony is
right.
that I joined the Navy to hurry up and get out of Sioux City, and then, you know, after you get married and have children, you're like, well, Iowa's not a bad place to raise kids, you know.
Absolutely.
So my wife
God's
and I,
country here,
right?
man.
My wife and I were like, well, you know, we've been all across the country, and none of those places seemed like a good place that we really wanted to raise our family. And they were like, I guess we're going back to Iowa.
Yeah, there you go. So talk about your kids. How many kids you got?
I got 4 kids.
Yep, 4 kids.
Yep. All Navy brats, except for my daughter. My daughter was the only one that was born in Sioux City.
Okay.
They were all born all over. Literally, my entire family, none of us were born here in Sioux City.
Is that right?
Except for my daughter.
All right, I'll quiz you. Where are you at in the map?
Okay, so I was born in Chicago.
Okay.
My wife was born in Grand Island, Nebraska. My 2 older boys were born in Oklahoma City when we were stationed out there.
Okay.
Brett, my youngest son, he was born out in San Diego, so he's a California baby.
Mm-hmm.
And Marjorie, my youngest daughter, my only daughter, born right here in Sioux City, Iowa.
Yeah, that's right. She's the Sioux City native now. Right.
So she's the only non-Navy brat. She's the only one that has never seen the ocean.
Okay.
We've all seen the ocean.
Got to show her that ocean sometime.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, my daughter's begging to go to the ocean, go see the ocean, and ride on an airplane, do all the cool stuff that the other kids got to do while we were, active and stuff. So,
yep.
Yeah, it was fun, but she'll get to see it.
Yeah,
So,
no kidding.
she wants to go to Hawaii. So
Yeah, well, that'd be a good first time to see an ocean and get on an airplane.
yeah, I just applied for some orders out for Pearl Harbor. I've never been there myself.
Yeah.
So they all want to go with me.
Talk about what that would look like to just get to Pearl Harbor, knowing your military background now.
For any sailor to go to Pearl Harbor, the first thing that comes to mind is the USS Arizona.
Yeah.
Like all those sailors that are on that ship just made the ultimate sacrifice. And that's really like, I think that's the reason why a lot of people join, is to do something bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the passage is like. There's no greater love than to lay down your life for your friend or whatever it is.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that's at in the Bible.
Love. Yeah.
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 But the selfless people that make the ultimate sacrifice, no matter what branch you're in or no matter what you do, like just those kinds of people are the best people. And those great people in our lives, I think, we owe all that to God.
Yeah.
God has created great people like that to be in our lives. And it's very, very humbling, just the thought of it. But if I were to get the opportunity to go there and I would go to the USS Arizona and just think about that.
Yeah.
Like, because all those sailors, they all had families, they had wives and children and stuff. when it was on a Sunday when the attack on Pearl Harbor happened.
Yeah.
Just a lazy, boring Sunday. It was kind of a downtime for the Navy at the time. They were just some people had duty. There's a lot of people that were not on the ship. They were home for the day.
Yep.
And just taking it easy on a lazy Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and we know how that is. I mean, just a normal Sunday afternoon.
Go to church service after church, and then just have brunch and take an lazy afternoon nap or whatever on Sunday, and then before you know it, we're in a war.
Well, we were talking about that as a staff earlier. I mean, just the sacrifices that were taken, especially as we approach Memorial Weekend, or any weekend that we're able to just honor and examine our freedoms that we have in this country. We can't take for granted, because there are a lot of countries around the world that do not have a freedom to worship, to gather. But that's what's being protected.
And I always think like there's military members that are making very little. I mean, some of these service members are eligible for food stamps and welfare programs and stuff. And these are the same people that are protecting millionaires, billionaires. Yeah. And so it's not for the money at all.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And so to have the kind of person that just puts all that aside just to protect their fellow person. And it doesn't matter, who they vote for or what they believe or what they don't believe. All those differences just get put aside because you want to carry on and continue the freedom that we've been given for 250 years now.
Yeah, coming up.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
it's great.
And that's why, when I connect my my service and my faith, you're the expression "God bless America." You really, if you get a chance to get outside of the nation and go to other places around the world, there's no question that God truly has blessed our nation. And I think you see a lot of people that just take it for granted.
Yeah.
They think it's, their freedom, is just, they're entitled to it.
Right. Yeah.
It's just.
But it's at a cost.
Right. It's free, or it doesn't, a big cost.
Yep. Absolutely.
I have this time. My children all grew up very patriotic, naturally.
Yeah.
And I've had the conversation with them. They're old enough now. Like, you imagine a world where the President of the United States told our entire military to stand down for 1 week. Like none of the aircraft could fly, none of the ships could float, none of the rifles were loaded, none of the tanks were mobile, anything. Just the entire military were to stand down for 1 week. The amount of terrible things that would happen to our country from the bad guys that are in other parts of the world that want to take advantage and take away our freedom and the power of our nation. There's a lot of bad people out there that want to do terrible things to our nation.
Well, you don't even think about that. I mean, just that proposition of 1 week of just sitting down, standing down,
no
nothing,
protection,
no activity,
no law
protection.
enforcement, no military, no EMS, no nothing.
You think about that even on a faith side. I mean, can you imagine 1 week without the blessing of God in our lives and without His presence and just
can't do it alone.
No,
you can't do it by yourself. You gotta have God's strength in all those things. Whether when He blesses our nation and gives us the guidance and the power of our military and the service of all those people, the law enforcement, the medical professionals, our military, all those people that provide a service. They get paid, but those people and those occupations are all blessings. They're answered prayers.
Yeah.
When I got diagnosed with leukemia on Valentine's Day, they started on a drug that allows me to stay alive.
Yeah.
Prior to 2001, what I got diagnosed with was completely fatal. So that's answer prayers.
Yeah.
Somebody, we've been asking for, God to give us a cure for cancer for a long time. There's not an actual cure for cancer anymore.
Right.
But there are versions of cancer now, mine, that you can live a long, regular life.
Because of the advancement of
answered prayers.
And absolutely. The wisdom that God gives and the discernment and the guidance for those medical professionals.
So that medicine that came along in 2001 was an answered prayer.
Let's talk about that. That was just recent, this last year.
Yeah.
I remember getting a phone call at 7 a.m. and from your wife, Marie, because you had an episode overnight. And
I tried to suck it up, and I tried to be like, well, this hurts, but I'll just take some ibuprofen and some Tylenol and just, I got too many things I have to do. I have a job, I have a family, I have my military stuff.
Yeah.
I have all that stuff on my plate. I can't get sick. I can't have hospital time. Right. I have too many responsibilities,
Yeah. So that was going through your mind the night before.
Yeah.
And then went to bed.
Well, I tried to go to bed. I had slept for like 2 nights prior to that. The pain was just so excruciating.
Yeah.
I couldn't suck it up anymore.
Yeah. So walk us through that middle of the night of what happened.
At one point I had this recliner in my living room where I could sit just right and I wasn't hurting and I could take a little nap. Well, that opportunity went away. I tried to do it and I couldn't move. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. Then the day before, my daughter, we had this daddy-daughter dance down there at Sergeant Bluff, right on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And she knew I was hurting the day before. She's like, Dad, what if you're hurting too much and we can't go to the daddy-daughter dance? I'm like, we're going.
Yeah.
If you have a little girl and she wants to do the daddy-daughter dance,
we're doing it.
You're like, I don't care how much pain I'm in. Like, I'm just going to suck it up. We're going because you don't want to let your kids down.
No, not your daughter.
Yeah. Not your only daughter. And then at 3:30 in the morning on Valentine's Day, I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I woke Marie up. I'm like, we have to go to urgent care or something. And then she's like, well, dear, it's 3:30 in the morning on a Saturday. We're not going to urgent care. We have to go to the ER. Yeah. And at this time, I'm thinking I have indigestion or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're just
really bad.
Right.
Right.
I'm like, maybe I got to change my eating habits or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe they'll just give me like an antibiotic and some painkillers or whatever.
Yep.
Like, just so I can go on with my life and keep taking care of all those responsibilities.
Go to this dance.
Right. And then we get there. They ran a CT scan. They get a blood draw. And they're like, your spleen is 5 times its normal size. I'm like, okay, well, that explains the extreme pain on the left side of my midsection. And they were like, your white blood cell count is at 220,000. I'm like, well, what's normal? I don't have any medical background. They're like, about 10,000. I'm like, oh,
wow,
that's really high.
Yeah,
They're like, yeah. And then they're like, we're trying to figure out if you have acute myeloid leukemia or chronic myeloid leukemia. I'm like, I don't know what this means. All I heard was the word leukemia. I'm like, cancer. That's all my family heard,
Yeah.
They're like immediately thinking like,
that'd be the first time you heard
I'm going to lose my dad. I'm going to lose my husband.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that for a minute. I'm like, I have God in my corner. Whatever this is going to bring, I'm getting through it. I'm going to fight through it because, it's like God knows God's given me all these things in my life. He's given me the privilege to serve my nation, and he's given me this beautiful family, and he's given me a great job to be able to provide for my family.
Yeah.
And like, God knows that he wants me to glorify him and all those things I get to do in my life. So I had full faith at that time that God was going to help me find a way to get through all that. And he did. Yeah. And, they were like, at one point in the ER, the doctor was like, it's not a death sentence. You're going to be able to get treated for this because of the answer prayers of that drug back in 2001.
Yeah.
They were like, but right now you're in really bad shape. We're going to have to put you on a helicopter and fly you down to the cancer center in Omaha. And, Marie was like, well, can I just drive him? They're like, no, he's septic.
Yeah, he's got to go.
Like, if he has a ruptured spleen, it's fatal.
Wow.
And she's like,
You're that
okay.
close, man.
Very close. And to go from that to being in remission 8 weeks later is a miracle.
Yeah, 8 weeks later.
It's God's work,
Yeah, absolutely. His miracle,
I mean,
his
I
hand.
called in 8 weeks. They're like, I went to my doctor's appointment. They were like, well, you made my day. I'm like, how did I make your day, doctor? And they were like, you're in hematological remission. Your white blood cell count, your red blood cell count, all of it is exactly where it should be. And I'm like, well, you made my day too, doc. And I was like, all right, well, I need to get a letter from you saying I can go back to work. And then I called my chain of command for my reserve unit.
Yep.
And it was a good news day. Like I called him.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I'm in remission. He's like, cool, congratulations. He's like, hey, I'm having twins. I'm like, cool, congratulations to you too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So,
yeah, lots to celebrate.
Yeah, it was a really, really good news day. And
yeah,
and I don't know where his faith is. Everybody in my chain of command, we're kind of restricted on what we can talk about, when we can talk about certain things in our, in the military. We're expected to behave and present ourselves a certain way,
But you have a story to tell now, and you've had a story to tell through this journey of leukemia and how you've held on to your faith through this.
And I was thinking about that good news day. All those good things that was a God shining day, for everybody to have good news. And then we had a family friend that her boyfriend got a great job. He's an Army reservist. He got a job down there at the base that he'd been trying hard for, really, really hard. He finally got that. And so it was a good news day all around for everybody.
Wow.
And so, I guess I have a story, to share with people, and a testimony to my faith.
Yeah.
I mean, they were talking about me being in the hospital for a whole year when I was in the ER.
Yeah, you were saying
and I was like, I can't do that.
Right. No.
I have
you said nope.
Yeah, I can't do that. And I was like, I knew immediately. I was like, God's not going to let me do that. I'm like, God wants me to put on a uniform and, serve my nation and do that job and take care of my family and, do my civilian job, to provide for my family. I'm like, God's not going to give me all this stuff and just take it away. And, the other part of it is that I had to think about is, and I don't think a lot of people think about the other side of it is if this is it for me, help my family to get through it, because I think a lot of people, they get angry when it doesn't go the way things want them to, when they ask God, why did God let me down? And he didn't answer this prayer the way that I wanted it.
Well, I was going to ask that because there is once you receive that news, I mean, you can fast forward 8 weeks later, there's this celebration that you guys are having, but in those moments before then, and you've shared this, I mean, faith has been part of your life for a very long time, but there's some depth in this where somebody could go one of two ways, become very bitter at God about this, or grow closer. You appeared to have just grown closer, cling to the Lord. Talk about that part of your faith life.
Well, I mean, when I go to the hospital, I still have to go once a month for a follow-on appointment. I go to this waiting room, and there's people that are in way worse shape than me.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I don't know them. They're strangers to me, I don't know them, but I'm like, how is God, dealing with these people in their lives? If they don't have any faith, what's going on in their mind, in their heart, in their lives? And then, some of them, that they're just waiting to go.
Yeah.
Because they're in that bad of shape. And then, what do they do when they're like, there's no hope anymore, I have hope. I've been blessed with, medicine. And I'm relatively young compared to most patients that get diagnosed with what I got diagnosed with. But I have my health and all that stuff. But I mean, what if I would have had a time where, They're like, and they were trying to determine that too. There's two versions of what I have. There's the acute and the chronic.
Yep.
The acute is like only like a 20 to 30% survival rate.
Wow.
And it was so bad where it looked like that's what it was at first.
Yeah.
And then there's a chronic version where it has over a 90% survival rate. So it could have had a 50-50 shot.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
could have, but from day one. And
right,
I remember.
So I joke, I'm like, well, I guess I chose the right one.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And
yeah, it was a good pick.
yeah. So, I mean, I cling to God in every single little thing
Yeah.
that is presented to me in my life. And I pass that on to my family too. You know, I have 3 boys and a girl, and our family is very, very strong in our faith. And we talk about it all the time. I mean, you can imagine the dynamics
Sure.
that my kids are going through, from a 22-year-old young man to a 10-year-old little girl. You know, they all have their own stuff
Absolutely.
that they
Yeah.
get presented with in their lives.
Yep.
And I'm always like, you know, ask God this, pray about that. They always find comfort in that. Like, and I think that's what everybody needs, not just kids.
Well, when they see dad and mom at home and how important that is, that you guys and how you carry your faith, especially in these moments.
Yeah.
I remember when I talked to you that morning when you're still learning what all of this is.
Yeah.
You just know you've been handed down this word leukemia and
Yeah.
trying to figure it out. I remember your tone was, you called and said, hey, just to let you know, I've got leukemia. I've been sent to Omaha, but we're going to be okay because I know the Lord's got this.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the tone of the conversation right there. And it's impressive. And I think that you never know how you're going to deal with something like that until you get handed that. But for your kids to see that, now they've grieved in their own way and been frustrated, of course, because that's the other side of this is it's okay to be frustrated and confused in the different ways that we're going to handle difficult information.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to where your faith's at.
Right. And even then, like when they're like, we're looking at leukemia, even then it's like you're the husband, you're the dad,
Yeah.
you still got to be that anchor. And, you know, all my family members had different responses. Marie called the kids and she's like, you guys got to get to the hospital. They all got there. The doctor came in, and then my youngest son, Brett, walked in at the very last minute, and all he heard was leukemia. And then he walked out, and Marie tried to call him back, and he just kept walking. I think he was getting really emotional.
Yeah.
Which, you know, a young man like him thinking he's going to lose his dad,
Sure.
rightfully so.
Yeah.
And then my wife got emotional, and then the other 2 kids were looking at me. You can read your kids, you know. They're like, Dad, what are you going to do? And so no matter how bad it gets,
Yep.
no matter how bad a shape Dad's in, Dad's got to do something, you know,
You're right.
because he's got to solve the world's problems all the time, right?
Exactly, even in the hospital
Right.
bed. That's right.
So, and I did too. I had to call my youngest son. He was upset, and I'm like, Brett, he's like, yeah, Dad. I'm like, the doctor said that it's not a death sentence.
Yeah.
And that this is going to be treatable, because he didn't catch that part of it before he walked out upset.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then so I said, you going to be all right? He's like, yeah, he's an archer. He had to shoot that day. He didn't know what he was going to do.
Yeah.
But it's going to be all right. Like, I'm going to have to stay at the hospital for a bit. They're going to get things straightened out for me, and then we'll be all right. I'll be able to go back to work, do my Navy thing. And
He shot pretty good that day, didn't he?
he actually did, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be like upset and do terrible, but he actually did very, very well.
Yeah.
And I got to give credit to my wife too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
being married for 25 years, and then I'm in the hospital. You know, Dad's got to solve the world's problems, man. But I had to put it on the shelf though during my hospital stay, because that woman was solving the world's problems at the time.
Yeah.
Because she was making sure the kids were getting to school, they were getting fed, bills were getting paid, and then all that while she actually stayed in the hospital with me, which is kind of a break for the nurses. We've been married for 25 years, like I said. So she knows all my little OCDs and my, you know, I'm hot, I'm cold, I need something to drink, I'm hungry, all this and that, you know. And she had it just, you know, like down to, you know, the details as far as my medicine, when it would wear off, when I needed it again, everything. And I needed her. And she had to help me like walk to take a shower, and she physically like had to help me get dressed and stuff. Like I was a child, I couldn't move. It was, it was so painful.
Yeah.
And she was there during the hospital stays and just taking care of all the paperwork I had to take care of for my job and reminding me to do this and that because, like my white blood cell count was so high that it just makes you so tired and all the things that come with extreme fatigue, not
uncharted territory for you to have her next to you there. I mean,
and like it's so frustrating because like the extreme fatigue makes you, like forget stuff, not be able to concentrate, not be able to focus, and all that stuff. And I have, a job and in my military job and my civilian job where you have to be mentally sharp. You have to be on point. You can't make mistakes.
Yeah.
Because, there's like serious safety issues that could happen. And it's like, I'm not used to that. Like I have, a very technical background from the time I was a very young man and my military jobs and my civilian jobs.
Yeah.
And she was able to just like understand that and take care of all that to make sure, if I couldn't remember something because I was tired, she took care of all the stuff through HR at my job and made sure I got a hold of the right people in my Navy unit and make sure the kids were fed and make sure they were comfortable.
Right.
Like Dad's going to be okay. And she made sure that, the kids were not going to be emotionally upset. She was still making sure the schoolwork got done.
Yeah.
The sports activities were being participated in, everything. She tried to keep everything normal.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, just taking on the weight of the world on her shoulders.
Yeah.
She told me she just hasn't completely had a chance to deal with it yet.
Yeah, sure.
And she's like, because you're not out of the woods. I still have to make sure you take your medicine.
Yeah.
You still have this,
keeping
illness.
You alive with that.
She is.
Yeah, right.
And so when we renewed our vows, in sickness and health part of it, she got emotional, and that was definitely the highlight of those renewing the vows when you got to repeat. We were very serious about our vows 25 years ago, but 25 years later, we're just completely different people.
You see it very differently now, don't you?
Right. We were 19 and 20 years old when we first got married. Now, we have 4 kids, we have careers and all that, and we're just older. We're different people. And in sickness and health is just, couldn't have imagined like 25 years later how much that would be, how much that would mean to us in those vows.
Right. And last story as we close here, and I love that because you renewed your vows how many weeks after diagnosed?
I got diagnosed on Valentine's Day, and then we renewed our vows. Our actual anniversary is the 23rd of March, but we get it on a Saturday on
a little over a month.
21st of March. And I was in a wheelchair.
Yep.
And I couldn't walk. And if I did, it was extremely painful.
Yeah.
So I sat
you had
down.
A rough couple of days before
I did.
The vow renewal too.
And then I had painkillers, and then just ibuprofen and some painkillers that are like opioids and stuff.
So our plan, we're going to have you seated right up front. Marie comes down. She'll walk and wheel you down back the aisle. So talk about that.
After our vows, when you said, I now pronounce you man and wife, you can, again, 25 years later, you can kiss your bride. And then at that point, I was supposed to get in the wheelchair that was behind me. And then I looked at my family, my friends that were sitting in the church. And I looked at her, and then I was in my Navy uniform when we redid our vows. I'm like, I just felt like I was going to look weak in my Navy uniform, going in a wheelchair down the aisle. It's just one of those moments, like, I'm like, sometimes God will tell you to suck it up. Let's go. And he pushes you when you can't push yourself. So I told Marie, I'm like, I'm going to walk. She looks at me and she's like, are you sure? Because she's worried sick about it. She's just worried about me through this whole thing. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. So I walked.
Yeah.
And like all the way down, I'm like, am I going to do this? I'm like, this hurts.
Yeah.
But I just stuck it up through the pain, and I walked down the whole aisle of the center aisle of the church. And then when we got to our reception, we had a daddy-daughter dance at the reception. So Marjorie finally got her daddy-daughter dance.
That's awesome.
Well, I still have to make up for that though, because I told her when I was in the hospital, I'm like, I can't do the daddy-daughter dance. She's like, okay. She was upset, but she's a 10-year-old little girl. So I was like, well, what I can do is when I get better, we can go out for a shopping spree and go to a movie. She's like, that was
like, let's do
completely
that.
taken care of. Man.
Exactly.
She heard shopping spree. She's like, we'll just do a daddy-daughter dance some other time. So she actually got both. She still gets her shopping spree.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. There you go.
Yeah. Her birthday's coming up. She'll be 11. So
yeah. But that's been the theme. I mean, I think about that wedding and that walk, the Lord's strength just carrying you through that. That's been the theme through this journey for you, and it's been really cool to see. Yeah. But that's awesome. Mickey, thank you so much for sharing that and continuing your walk, and it's been fun. Obviously, as part of our men's group, and for just been a blessing over the men to be able to hear all you've gone through and that you continue to go through. So appreciate you sharing that, man.
Yeah, not a problem.
Well, it's great to be able to sit down with Mickey, and I know that there are many of you who might be battling an illness, or you have a loved one that's battling an illness. And I just want to be reminded of a verse that we made mention to, Romans 8:28. We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. No matter what you're going through right now, God didn't cause it to you. It's because of sin that has destructed us and our world and his creation. But just know that he is with you and he is working with you. He is your strength and he is guiding you. And whatever you might be going through or a loved one, it's for the good and the glory for him, and he can use it for his purpose and in his kingdom. And so you're not alone in this. We keep praying for healing and restoration, but for God's strength as you go through a season that you're going through. God bless you. Thanks for listening today to our Faith, Relationship, and Community podcast. For more episodes, check out our website, morningsidelutheran.com, or on our social media platforms. We appreciate you joining. God bless.